During the General Committee meeting last week at Barrie City Hall, the Council deliberated on various items. Ward 9 Councillor Sergio Morales shared updates regarding the Community Safety Committee meeting held on September 19.
Concerning the options to address chronic homelessness in the City of Barrie. I believe every member of council attended, if not every member, so you guys will remember. But beyond that, it was extremely engageful. I'm happy that how people were respectful of each other and their perspectives. Just because somebody shared one story didn't mean that someone else's experience was more or less important. And I said that, and I was so happy to see people actually do that and not think that they were being dismissed by the other. So the meeting was productive. And
However, Morales failed to address the disrespectful comments by deputants towards the Busby Centre and individuals grappling with homelessness and mental health challenges. The Busby Centre provides comprehensive support through street outreach, drop-in services, and shelter facilities to those affected by poverty, homelessness, addiction, and mental health issues. In the past, Morales has taken a firm stance against permitting critical comments about the police, while surprisingly allowing such comments to be directed towards the Busby Centre. There are a number of motions approved, including the invitation to Barrie's provincial and federal members of parliament to provide update on provincial and federal matters. The council also approved investigation into various pedestrian safety measures.
CS1, invitation to cities, provincial and federal members of parliament, update on provincial and federal matters. That's approved. Investigation of an all-way stop or other pedestrian safety measures, Codrington and Rodney Street. That's approved on consent. Investigation, no parking anytime, Sydenham Wells and Penetanguishene Road. That's approved on consent. Investigation installing a stoplight, Johnson Street and Grove Street. That's approved on consent.
Councillor Morales declared a conflict of interest when the discussion turned to Pattison Outdoor Advertising's request for a billboard exemption in Ward 9.
Okay. Have a conflict on this one?
Okay. Conflict noted, Madam Clerk?
I have to say it. Yeah, I have one billboard left with this company. I bought a big contract a while ago, so I have one more, and that constitutes a financial relationship, and the billboard prices have gone up significantly since then. So I will declare a conflict and not vote or influence this matter.
However, he failed to disclose when his business relationship with the company began. Another conflict of interest issue surfaced, reported by Ward 3 Councillor Annocements Kungl. Barrie's internal audit revealed that the city did not receive its entitled share of revenue from the Barrie Colts use of Sadlan Arena. It is a team owned by Horsepower Sports and Entertainment Group. Although Kungl did not personally receive any direct benefits from the Barrie Colts, her employer did.
Councillor Kungl.
Thank you. I need to declare a pecuniary conflict of interest. I believe the amendment makes reference to a tenant at the Sadlan Arena. That tenant has provided funding to the agency I'm employed with. And so I will recuse myself from voting. And should I get into discussion, I'll head to the back. But otherwise, if it's just a straight motion, I'll just push back from the table.
We are interested in hearing your thoughts on whether there should be greater transparency concerning business interests of council members. Deputy Mayor Robert Thompson proposed an amendment aiming to ensure the Barrie Colts comply with the terms of existing agreement before moving forward with the execution of new lease agreement in Sadlan Arena.
My amendment is as follows: that the 2023 year-to-date internal audit status report dated September 27, 2023 be referred to Staff and Recreation and Cultural Services in order to bring the Sadlan tenant into compliance with the existing agreement prior to executing a new lease agreement.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Thompson. The referral motion is on the floor. Referral motions, as you know, are not debatable. So I will go straight to calling the vote. All those in favor of the referral motion by the Deputy Mayor. And it's passed unanimously.
The ecological offset policy finally got teeth, with the city imposing hefty fines for unauthorized tree removal and prioritizing waterfront reforestation. It is aimed at ensuring compliance and visibly transforming the urban landscape towards sustainability.
The ecological offset is going to generate a revenue and allow us to plant a lot of trees.
Use the timestamps in the description below to jump to the relevant section of the video.
The first item on the agenda is the consent agenda. For the consent items, I will read out the title associated with the recommended motions printed on the agenda. Members of General Committee may ask that an item be held to discuss the matter further. If an item is not held, the motion is deemed to be approved on consent. No further discussion of the item will take place at General Committee, and the recommended motions will go forward to the next City Council meeting for consideration. The first item is the reports of the Reference Committee, and we'll actually proceed with the updates first, if that's okay with members of Council. So the first one we're going to do is the Community Safety Committee dated September 19th, 2023. Councillor Morales, if you could provide the summary, and then we'll have the receiving of it.
Thank you, Mayor Nuttall. Just want to make sure I have the order here. So on September 19th, so there's two updates from two committee meetings of community safety. September 19th on Tuesday, we had the public meeting regarding motion 23-A-052 concerning the options to address chronic homelessness in the city of Barrie. I believe every member of council attended, if not every member. So you guys will remember. But beyond that, it was extremely engageful. I'm happy that how people were respectful of each other and their perspectives. Just because somebody shared one story didn't mean that someone else's experience was more or less important. And I said that, and I was so happy to see people actually do that and not think that they were being dismissed by the other. So the meeting was productive, and I know I was just so impressed at how people took the time to present and write the speeches. And I do want to thank clerk staff and IT as well for the timer, which allowed the meeting to kind of stay on course. So from October 4th, we had a quick meeting that was just the other week. We referred a couple of correspondence items that we basically decided that it's better for our MPPs to come and present and discuss, because a lot of these correspondence we've been getting from other municipalities are advocating for stuff that needs provincial direction and policy. And then also we accepted a lot of items for discussion that came from members of council regarding always stops, no parking any times, and investigations for no parking. So that was basically the summary of that meeting. Mayor Nuttall.
Thank you, Councillor Morales, or Chair Morales in that case. I will now move on to, actually before we do, we need to make sure that we have the minutes to be received from September 19th. Are they received? Looks like they are. I'll now move on to 5.2. Councillor Nixon, if you could give the update, and then we'll receive the minutes for the Affordability Committee meeting dated September 27th.
Thank you, Mayor Nuttall. The Affordability Committee last met, well, not this afternoon, but prior to that on October 18th. Present was Mayor Nuttall, Deputy Mayor Thompson, myself, and Jim Harris, who are the full complement of the Affordability Committee. We also had 5 other members of council present, as well as 14 different staff members. The main item on the agenda was a presentation given by Michelle Banfield, Director of Development Services, and Madeline Kowalczyk, Senior Planner, who provided a presentation concerning the City of Barrie Affordable Housing Strategy Update and Policy Option Discussions. Follow that were a number of questions. And we also recommended adapting one recommendation, which was that the memorandum from M. Munshaw, Supervisor of Engineering Standards, dated September 27th, 2023, regarding the review of right-of-way design standards for the Salem and Hewitt areas to be deferred to the next Affordability Committee meeting. And the meeting adjourned at 6:02 p.m.
Thank you, Councillor Nixon. So the report of the Affordability Committee dated September 27th, 2023 is to be received. It is received, and now we'll move on to AC1, which is the motion that was just described by Councillor Nixon. Is anyone holding that, or is that approved on consent? Looks to be approved on consent. Now move on to 5.3, the report of the Finance and Responsible Governance Committee dated September 27th. Councillor Harvey, if you could provide the summary, then we'll go into the receiving of the minutes and the motions attached.
Thank you, Mayor Nuttall. This particular committee meeting, all members of council were present. First, we received the report from the International Relations Committee dated September the 5th, and no recommendations from committee came out of that. The next item on the agenda was an investigation in regards to economic trade partnership opportunities with the state of Michigan, and that's actually been moved forward to General Committee this evening. And then the next item was the 2023 year-to-date internal audit status report, which was presented by our city internal auditor. And then the last thing was a motion and discussion around an investigation to allow for residents along the waterfront with the use of their waterfront pass holders to use the EV charging stations at the marina parking lot, whereas right now the marina parking lot's one of the few that our waterfront parking passes are not valid. And again, that's another item that is on tonight's agenda.
Thank you, Councillor Harvey. So the report of the Finance and Responsible Governance Committee dated September 27th, 2023 is to be received. We'll move on to the three items. FR1, investigation, economic trade partnership opportunities. That's approved on consent. The FR2, the 2023 year-to-date internal audit status report.
Hold, please.
That's held by Deputy Mayor Thompson. FR3, investigation to allow for resident waterfront parking pass holders to use the EV charging stations at the marina with no additional fee. And that is also approved on consent. Move on to 5.4, Councillor Morales. This is the report of the Community Safety Committee dated October 4th, 2023.
To put on the floor as printed, or to
the report of the Community Safety Committee for October 4th.
Sorry, to discuss or to put on the floor?
To provide the summary of the meeting.
Summary of the meeting. Through you, Mayor Nuttall, I jumped the gun when I said there was 2 meetings, so I provided it for. I either jumped the gun or it was already there. I'll look to the clerk for clarification. Okay, did I do it properly? Yes. Separately.
So those were both in the same one. And here I thought you just got a lot accomplished in a couple of hours.
You're just being nice. What you really want to say is I talked a lot for the explanation. Those were 2 meetings worth of comments. Thank you.
I'm sorry about that, Councillor Morales. Well, now that we've had the update, the report of the Community Safety Committee dated October 4th is to be received. And it is received. There are a number of motions coming out of that. CS1, invitation to cities, provincial and federal members of parliament, update on provincial and federal matters. That's approved. Investigation of an all-way stop or other pedestrian safety measures, Codrington and Rodney Street. That's approved on consent. Investigation, no parking any time, Sydenham Wells and Penetanguishene Road. That's approved on consent. Investigation installing a stoplight, Johnson Street and Grove Street. That's approved on consent. Investigation controlled pedestrian crossing Livingston Street West and Longman Drive. That's approved on consent. Investigation speed reduction on Lake Shore to 40 kilometers an hour. That's approved on consent. Investigation 2-hour parking limit Davidson Street. That's approved on consent. Traffic bylaw amendment, no parking anytime on Quant Street.
Hold, please.
That's held by Councillor Harvey. Investigation for a 3-way stop Ann Street North and Hanmer Street West. That is approved on consent. No parking Downing Street. That's approved.
Hold, please. I actually held the wrong one. Quants, I didn't want to hold. I just realized I held the wrong one. Sorry about that.
Okay, so you'd like to no longer hold CS8?
That's correct. It's CS10 that I need to hold, please.
So CSA 8, is anyone else wanting to hold it for discussion? Then it's approved on consent. We'll now move on to the staff reports. DEV 033-23, the Ecological Offsetting Policy.
Hold, please.
That's held by Deputy Mayor Thompson. Delegation of approval authority for certificate of cancellation and validation of title under sections 5345 and 57 of the Planning Act. That's approved on consent. DEV 053-23, the alteration to a designed heritage building 142 Collingwood Street, Ward 1. It's approved on consent. DEV 054-23, municipal names registry, additional names. It's approved on consent. DEV 055-23, Stanley Street, no parking anytime restrictions, Ward 3. It's approved on consent. LCS 011-23, establishment of a youth council.
Hold, please.
That's held by Councillor Harris. LCS 012-23, this is a request for exemption from sign bylaw 2018-029, 833 Yonge Street, Ward 9.
Alex? Sorry, Mayor Nuttall. I have a conflict on this one. So do I have to declare the conflict before it goes on consent? Yep. I'm getting nods. Okay. I have a conflict on this one.
Okay. Conflict noted, Madam Clerk?
I have to say it. Yeah, I have one billboard left for this company. I bought a big contract a while ago, so I have one more, and that constitutes a financial relationship, and the billboard prices have gone up significantly since then. So I will declare a conflict and not vote or influence this matter.
Conflict has been noted, Madam Clerk.
Yes, Mayor Nuttall, it has.
Wonderful. As I see no one holding this item, it's approved on consent. LCS 013-23, sorry, before we move on, that'll be held as a separate report there for next week, Madam Clerk.
Yes, Mayor Nuttall.
Thank you. LCS 013-23, confidential personal information matter, request for exemption to the animal control bylaw 2010-035 as amended. It's approved on consent. We'll now go to items for discussion. Invitation to present to Council, Carnival Barrie, put on by Councillor Morales. That's approved on consent. Correspondence in support of the IOOF's funding request to the federal government, Ukrainian refugees.
Hold, please.
That's held by Councillor Harris. Appointment to Barrie Sports Hall of Fame Board of Councillor Morales, sponsored by Councillor Negussi. And that is also approved on consent. We'll now go back to the matters that have been held for the evening and go through them one by one. The first one is the 2023 year-to-date internal audit status. Deputy Mayor Thompson, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor Nuttall. I'll put the motion on the floor as printed, and I have an amendment.
Sorry, prior to that, Councillor Kungl.
Thank you. I need to declare a pecuniary conflict of interest. I believe the amendment makes reference to a tenant at the Sadlin Arena. That tenant has provided funding to the agency I'm employed with. And so I will recuse myself from voting. And should I get into discussion, I'll head to the back. But otherwise, if it's just a straight motion, I'll just push back from the table.
Madam Clerk, has the conflict been noted?
Yes, Mayor Nuttall, it has.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Thompson.
Thank you, Mayor Nuttall. My amendment is as follows: that the 2023 year-to-date internal audit status report dated September 27, 2023 be referred to Staff and Recreation and Cultural Services in order to bring the Sadlin tenant into compliance with the existing agreement prior to executing a new lease agreement.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Thompson. The referral motion is on the floor. Referral motions, as you know, are not debatable. So I will go straight to calling the vote. All those in favor of the referral motion by the Deputy Mayor. And it's passed unanimously. We'll now move on to, we approved a lot of items on consent this evening. Traffic, CS10, the no parking Downing Street, and that is Councillor Harvey.
Thank you, Mayor Nuttall. Put it on the floor as printed. I do have an amendment. It's just a housekeeping amendment to sort out the numbers that are noted in the motion. That item CS10 concerning the no parking Downing Crescent be amended as follows. 1, by deleting the numbers 1 to 8 before the word inclusive and replacing them with 1 to 12. And 2, deleting the number 8 before the words a no parking zone and replacing it with number 12. And I can speak to that if needed. It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, the Deputy Mayor just said he likes number 8, so you're... Are there any questions or comments with regards to the amendment on the floor? Seeing none, all those in favor? The amendment is approved on the main motion as amended. All those in favor? And it is also approved. We'll now move on to DEV 033-23, Ecological Offsetting Policy. Deputy Mayor Thompson, you held the item.
Thank you, Mayor Nuttall. I'll put the motion on the floor as printed, and I have an amendment. That the Ecological Offset Policy attached as Appendix A to Staff Report DEV 033-23 be approved and amended as followed. In Section 2.0, Ecological Offset Fees, to add that if no tree removal permit is obtained by a landowner, a woodlot tree removal, compensation fees of $140,500 per hectare and $1,220 per tree shall apply. And if Section 4.2 project prioritization schedule, to add the following as a priority 1 and renumber the other priorities in accordance with the waterfront master plan. 1,000 trees be planted along the waterfront, with a minimum of 50% of the trees planted citywide in a given year be planted until 1,000 is achieved, and I can speak to that.
The floor is yours.
So, thanks, Mayor Nuttall. So there was a lot of work by yourself done into this to basically reduce the cost with the administration, of outside agencies and allowing all the trees to be planted here. But with the reduction, I think also it's, the stick in the carrot kind of thing. We ask that our partners in development and stuff do what's right. So I think this just says, follow our procedure, follow our policy, and, the reduction's there for you. But if you don't, then there's a penalty for not following our policy. And then the Section B, I think one thing about this council, we are laser focused on priorities, and it was passed a couple weeks ago to have this 1,000 trees around our waterfront, which I think we show the ecological offset is going to generate a revenue and allow us to plant a lot of trees. So it's nice to see the work of this council right in our face, really. We're going to see the trees on a year-to-year basis being planted around the waterfront.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Are there any other questions or comments with regards to the amendment on the floor? Seeing none, I'll just chime in if that's okay. This policy is obviously a very strong policy that we put in place very early on in our term, but there was a missing component. If somebody decided not to follow the law, then what was the actual penalty if we didn't have to go through all of the process and actually prosecute individuals? And I think that, we have a 60% reduction here in the cost of ecological offsetting, which is essentially planting trees that have been cut down in order to facilitate whatever's happening on those properties. And if the individual is not going to comply with the permits or the law, then there has to be a penalty that, that person pays. So what this actually does is, as the Deputy Mayor said, is it restores the previous penalty to the fullest, and hopefully this will result in all developers following the rules. The other piece to this I would just say is when somebody doesn't replace the tree, when they don't pay for that tree to be replaced, they're actually, it's actually stealing it from the taxpayer, right? Because we have a policy in place that's saying we need to have these trees replaced in the city of Barrie. It fits our environmental goals, certainly fits our beautification goals, and when somebody decides not to, they're actually stealing from the taxpayer, in my opinion. And so I wholeheartedly support the deputy mayor on this. And the second piece, in terms of the trees, you know, for a lot of time, a long time, we've passed master plans and then not funded them. And so it doesn't matter if it's a tree or if it's a Navy cadet or if it's a rec center. Like, our council, we need to fund the things that we say we're going to do so that we're not lying to the constituents. We're actually fulfilling the obligations that we're committing the city of Barrie to. So I really do appreciate this and certainly support it. All those in favor of the amendment? It's approved, and the main motion as amended. Are there any comments or questions? All those in favor? And it's approved. We'll now go on to LCS 011-23, the establishment of a youth council, and that is Councillor Harris.
Thank you, Mayor Nuttall. I'll put the item on the floor as printed, and I have an amendment. I believe, well, I know folks likely have the amendment, but there's a slight change to the wording. So would you like me just to read the changed wording in the one section, given that you have most of it? It's okay? Okay. So just please note, item 2 in the amendment would now read, propose to read, in paragraph 5, the first sentence be deleted and replaced with, council members shall be appointed for a 2-year term, and youth council members will be appointed for a 1-year term with an option to extend a 2nd-year term. So with that noted, I'm happy to speak to the amendment, the full amendment. So, and before I do that, I want to first recognize Ms. MacArthur from the clerk's office for all the work that went into designing this. No less than 17 examples of other municipalities that have youth councils that she provided in the report. So it gave us lots of food for thought to how this would be structured. And so we had some great conversations about how to do things like the term and the composition. So thank you for that. And really pleased, those will remember, this is something that came forward at the end of last council that I brought forward, and certainly this council then very pleased that they proceeded to support it going forward. So here we are with the opportunity to join the other 17 municipalities that have youth councils across the province. So very excited about this opportunity. And the amendments are really just, again, trying to sort out making a community that will work well for our youth in our city. And up to 12 youth age 12 to 20, we wanted to create some flexibility. Ideally, having each high school represented would be wonderful. We have 8 now, plus a French school and a Christian school. So we want to have room so we can have hopefully one from every school, but you can't guarantee that. So we have some room with the new wording to do that. And also wanted to get a range of youth, again, from even, upper tier elementary, obviously right through to post-secondary. So that's really why we've changed that wording around the ages. And then the term was really, because a lot of the committees of council, they're 4 years, but if you're in grade 11 and we start this fabulous youth council and you're really motivated, it's like, wow, I can't do 4 years. I'm going to be in university by the time this is over, or college. So we thought with a 1 year plus the option to extend for a second would provide flexibility. So that first year we have this, assuming it gets approved, I'm being presumptuous here, a grade 12 student who has a political interest could say, wow, what a great way to finish my high school career in Barrie and be part of this youth council. So didn't want to limit that. And every second month seemed a bit more opportunity, again, to engage the youth than quarterly. So those are really the explanation behind the changes. So I hope members are as excited as I am about having a youth committee of council, and will support this item. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Councillor. Are there any questions or comments with regards to the amendment on the floor? Seeing none, all those in favor? It carries. And with regards to the main motion? Seeing none, it looks like you are going to get what you said. All those in favor? And that's approved. And Councillor Harris, I know that this was an idea that you had even before this council, and have pushed it through all the way. So congratulations. And it's got to go through City Council still, but besides that, I think it's good to go. We'll now move on to I believe 8.2, correspondence in support of the IOF's funding request to the federal government, Ukrainian refugees. Councillor Harris, that's you as well.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Noddle. And again, folks, put on the floor as printed, and there's an amendment, and just a real simple amendment, as you would see from the wording. This wonderful contribution to our Ukrainian refugees that came to Barrie has already happened. And I want to give a shout out to a thank you to MP Broussard, who brought this opportunity. There's some federal funding to help support the IOF, who took money from their reserves to do this. And just to give you some context, they provided 20 apartments, rent-free, including utilities, provided over 4,000 square feet of space and cultural center for 29 adults and 26 children. So, and what an incredible, a very quietly done contribution to the Ukrainians who needed housing and support in our community. So thank you as well to Mr. Gary Hopkins and his team at IOF for offering the service. So all they're looking for from us is a letter that would then be able to be utilized to access the federal funding to help to recoup some of the investments they made in this effort. So wonderful opportunity to be able to do this. Hope Council would be supportive. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. So the motion or amendment to the motion would read.
Would you like me to? I can read that if you like.
Correspondence be sent to the Ministry of Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship in Canada in support of the IOF's funding request for their organization to receive compensation for housing and support already provided to Ukrainian refugees in the city of Barrie.
Yes, thank you.
Beautiful. The amendments on the floor, are there any questions or comments with regards to the amendment itself? And then we'll call the vote. All those in favor? That's approved. With regards to the main motion as amended, are there any questions or comments with regards? There isn't. Only thing I'll say is we have an incredible city that has done an incredible job taking care of people who have left a terrible situation. And thank you to the community for doing that, because it's not just the IOF, although they stepped up with the lion's share, there's no question about that. It's the Rotary clubs, other service clubs, it's people donating clothing and money and time. And I just want to say thank you to the community for stepping up, because it is certainly a worthwhile cause to see lives that have been in tatters changed for the good once they come here. All those in favor of the main motion? It carries. We are now at inquiries. Are there any inquiries around the table this evening? Seeing none, we'll move on to announcements. Deputy Mayor, do you have any announcements?
I do not.
Councillor Kungl.
Thank you. My announcements is more of a thank you. We had a great turnout for a Clean Up Barrie event in Ward 3. So while it is fall, still seeing lots of debris out there. So thanks to Clean Up Barrie and all those volunteers. And it's a great opportunity too if students are looking for hours. We had a couple come out, so do look for that. But wanted just to say on behalf of those residents that were from Ward 3 and beyond, thank you for providing a couple of hours on Sunday.
Thank you, Councillor Kungl. Any other announcements around the table? Seeing none, before I get into the formal announcements, if I could pass on a thanks through, and recognition, quite frankly, through Ms. McAlpine to our team who put on the, I don't know what it was called actually, the Halloween event tonight at the Sadlin Arena.
Fright Fest.
Thank you. I read about it in the rec center. And by I read about it, my kids read about it, and then I didn't have a choice on whether I went or not. So I noticed that at the beginning of each of the councillors' updates tonight on the different committees, they said who was present, not present. So when that comes up, I wasn't present. It was because I was at Sadlin Arena, and it was awesome, and it was really well done.
Dan Bell his team in Recreation and Culture have done an amazing job with Fright Fest. I wasn't able to attend this year, but last year was outstanding, and this year I'm sure surpassed it. They work in partnership with Barrie Fire and Emergency Service, Barrie Police, Barrie Public Library, and Transit and Parking Strategy to put on a really great event for the children. So thank you for acknowledging that.
It was really nice. And the other thing I just wanted to point out on that is it's free. And there's lots of families that don't have access to do a ton of fun stuff, but they have access when you do that type of stuff. So thank you for that. All right, so we're now going to talk about a pumpkin that weighs more than I do. The City of Barrie has been awarded the grand prize in this year's Compost Council of Canada's Great Pumpkin National Growing Contest. The winning pumpkin was grown by city staff from solid waste operations and weighed in at 375.5 pounds. The pumpkin exceeded the city's previous award-winning giant pumpkin in 2021 at 310 pounds. It was grown in compost made from yard waste collected from Barrie residents. The winning municipality receives bragging rights as well as $500 to be used towards a horticultural initiative. So congratulations to our team and to all of the residents of Barrie who are composting, because you've played a part. The city is launching the 2024 budget engagement campaign on October 20th. Taxpayers are encouraged to provide feedback through the online survey on how they would like their tax dollars spent ahead of City Council's 2024 budget deliberations. The City of Barrie is also conducting a phone survey as part of the 2024 business campaign. 1,000 residents from all 10 wards will receive calls on cellular and landlines. The survey will take an estimated 5 to 7 minutes to complete. Residents are encouraged to take the time to provide feedback. Learn more and share your feedback. You can visit buildingbarrie.ca 2024 budget. The city's launched Art on Transit, a new public art initiative facilitated by the Barrie Public Art Committee in partnership with Barrie Transit. 5 digital artworks created by local and Ontario-based visual artists have been installed on 10 transit bus shelters, one in each ward of the city. To view the art on the transit map and learn more about the installations, visit barrie.ca/publicart. The city is recognizing Circular Economy Month in October in partnership with the Barrie Public Library. The city continues recognizing Waste Reduction Week until October 22nd, with the events happening throughout the community. To learn more about how the city supports the circular economy, visit barrie.ca/circular economy and barrie.ca/rethink waste. As the Dunlop Street Interchange Trunk Sanitary Relocation Project continues, that is quite the handle for that project, the Cedar Point/Edge Hill intersection is closed and will continue until mid-December. For information about municipal infrastructure projects across Barrie, please visit barrie.ca/roadwork. Residents can now bring used batteries to some city facilities to be recycled. Batteries must be placed in a bag before they're put into the box. Bags will also be available at each location. For more information on the program, including the full list of recycling box locations, visit barrie.ca/battery disposal. The Infrastructure and Community Investment Committee and City Council meetings will be held on October 25th, 2023, 1 week from this evening. And now we will go on to the circulation list. There's actually 3 sets of circulation, so we're going to start with October 4th, 2023. Councillor Harris.
Yeah, thank you, Renato. I have one, and folks would have noticed it was really great to see the report on the affordable housing projects on institutional lands, which was something that came out from the task force from 2016. Oh, I've lost my dates. 1822, pardon me. So I'd like to request that memorandum concerning an update on the New Foundations Project, Quick Start for affordable housing projects on institutional lands, be referred to the Affordability Committee, and that the pastor from Maplewood Church be invited to present initiatives that have undertaken that align with this memorandum.
All those in favor of the referral? And it's approved. And next we have the October 11th, 2023 circulation list. Seeing nothing, let's move on to the October 18th, 2023 circulation list. Sorry, Deputy Mayor Thompson.
We received a correspondence in our confidential packages, and I'd like to refer that to, would that be finance? Finance Committee.
The referral motion is on the floor to Finance and Responsible Government. All those in favor of the motion? And it's approved.
Sorry, it's about a rep to come and present, sorry. Yeah, I'll do it. Rewind that. Okay.
You've practiced that a few times, I can tell.
Correspondence C3, that the confidential correspondence concerning a potential land dispute matter, Dunlop Street area, be referred to the Finance and Responsible Governments Committee, and that the proponent of the representatives invited to provide a presentation concerning this matter.
We've clearly talked about this because I knew what you were talking about before. All those in favor again, the referral, and it's approved. Okay, so are there any other items from the October 18th circulation list? Seeing none, I believe we can adjourn the meeting at 7:36, Bob. Thanks.
That was the update from last week's meeting, and many of these items were discussed again during this week's City Council meeting. We will also provide updates on these discussions, so keep watching. Thank you.